The victims of Epstein have lived with trauma that most of us can barely comprehend. And they've had to relive it again and again. They have seen accountability delayed and too often denied. To them, I want to say this. I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. And sorry that even now you're forced to watch this story unfold in public once again. And in recent days, serious allegations and serious evidence has emerged concerning Mandelson's conduct, including his relationship with Epstein, a convicted sex offender. It had been publicly known for some time that Mandelson knew Epstein, but none of us knew the depth and the darkness of that relationship. What has come to light has raised serious questions. Information that was not known at the time of his appointment. Before he was appointed ambassador, Mandelson was asked directly about the nature of his relationship with Epstein. He was asked whether he had stayed at Epstein after his conviction. And when, later, further information came to light, he was asked whether he had accepted gifts and hospitality, about whether he had been fully transparent about the relationship. The information now available makes clear that the answers he gave were lies. He portrayed Epstein as someone he barely knew. And when that became clear, and it was not true, I sacked him. Such deceit is incompatible with public service. Let me be clear, no one is above accountability. And no one, however well connected, however experienced, however senior, should hold public office if they cannot meet the basic test of honesty. I also want to address the publication of the information Mandelson provided during the appointment process. I understand the strength of public feeling. I share the anger that people feel when powerful individuals appear to escape scrutiny. And I want to be able to release those documents as quickly as possible. I wanted to release them yesterday, in fact, and to talk about them at Prime Minister's questions. But the police have advised that releasing certain information now could risk prejudicing a future investigation or legal process. And however frustrating from my personal point of view that is, and it is, I will not take any step, however politically tempting, however popular, that risks justice for victims. Because this is not and must never become a political game.
The whole House will be disgusted by the latest revelations about Jeffrey Epstein. All of us want to see his victims get justice. But the political decision to appoint Epstein's close associate, Peter Mandelson, as Britain's ambassador to Washington goes to the very heart of this Prime Minister's judgment. When he made that appointment, was he aware that Mandelson had continued his friendship even after Epstein's conviction for child prostitution?
Simple question. Mr. Speaker, let me start where I must, with the victims of Epstein, and all of our thoughts are with them. Can I also say our thoughts are with all those who lost jobs, savings and livelihoods in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament and my party. Mr. Speaker, he lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein before and during his tenure as ambassador. I regret appointing him. If I knew then what I know now, he would never have been anywhere near government. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Cabinet Secretary, with my support, took the decision to refer material to the police. And there is now a criminal investigation. I've instructed my team to draft legislation to strip Mandelson of his title and wider legislation to remove disgraced peers.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Prime Minister a very specific question. Did he know that Mandelson had continued his friendship with Epstein after the conviction? He says if he knew then what he knows now, but he did know. In January 2024, a journalist from the Financial Times informed the Prime Minister that Mandelson had stayed in Epstein's house even after that conviction for child prostitution. So did the Prime Minister conveniently forget this fact, or did he decide it was a risk worth taking?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as the House would expect, we went through a process. There was a due diligence exercise, and then there was security vetting by the security services. What was not known was the depth, the sheer depth and extent of the relationship. He lied about that to everyone for years. And new information was published in September showing the relationship was materially different to what we'd been led to believe. When the new information came to light, I sacked him. But we did go through a due diligence exercise. The points that are being put to me were dealt with within that exercise. In response to the humble address this afternoon, I intend to make sure that all of the material is published. Mr. Speaker, the only exemptions are national security, if it prejudice national security. My first duty is obviously to keep this country safe. And when we drafted humble addresses, we always put an exemption for national security. But also anything will prejudice international relations. Mr. Speaker, you in the House will appreciate that in the course of discussions country to country, there are very sensitive issues of security, intelligence and trade which cannot be disclosed without compromising the relationship between the two countries or a third country. Mr. Speaker, so that I can be totally open with the House, I should also disclose that the Metropolitan Police have been in touch with my office this morning to raise issues about anything that would prejudice their investigations. We're in discussion with them about that, and I hope to be able to update the House, but I do think I should make that clear to the House at this point, because those discussions are ongoing.
But the Prime Minister cannot blame the process. He did know. It was on Google. If the Conservative Research Department could find this information out, why couldn't Number 10? On the 10th of September, when we knew this, I asked him at that dispatch box, he gave Mandelson his full confidence at that dispatch box, not once, but twice. He only sacked him after pressure from us. I am asking the Prime Minister something very specific, not about the generalities of the full extent. Can the Prime Minister tell us, did the official security vetting he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
So clear. Prime Minister.
Yes, it did. As a result, various questions were put to him. I intend to disclose to this House all of them, the national security, prejudice to international relations on one side. I want to make sure that I want to make sure this House sees the full documentation so it will see for itself the extent to which time and time again Mandelson completely misrepresented the extent of his relationship with Epstein and lied throughout the process, including in response to the due diligence. Mr. Speaker, I'm as angry as anyone about what Mandelson has been up to. The disclosures that have been made this week of him passing sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 financial crash is utterly shocking and appalling. He's betrayed our country. He's lied repeatedly. He's responsible for a litany of deceit. But this moment demands not just anger, but action. And that's why we've moved quickly, referring material to the police, publishing legislation so we can remove titles from disgraced politicians, and stripping Mandelson of his Privy Councillorship. That is what the public expect, and that is what we will do.
Mr. Speaker, I've been thinking how it must feel for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and their families, hearing more and more stories of how rich, powerful men were currying favour with a paedophile sex trafficker, such as Peter Mandelson, sending government secrets to help Epstein enrich himself further. Seeing Mandelson made ambassador to the United States, even after his links to Epstein had been extensively reported by both the Financial Times and Channel 4 News. So can the Prime Minister tell us, given he now admits he knew about those links, before he gave such an important job to one of Epstein's closest friends, did he think at all about Epstein's victims?
Mr. Speaker, we looked at the material. There was a process. There was then, as he will understand, there was then a security vetting exercise as well. And that's why I started by saying all of our thoughts are with the victims of Epstein. He is right at the beginning of his question to express anger at the material that has recently come out in relation to sensitive information in the aftermath of the 2008 crash. And that is why yesterday, working with the Cabinet Secretary, we referred a material to the police, which has now led to the criminal investigation that is going to follow.
Mr. Speaker, I think the victims of Jeffrey Epstein deserve far better than that. They deserve Peter Mandelson not being appointed in the first place. We don't even know the full extent of the British establishment's involvement in his appalling crimes, or how many British girls and young women were trafficked by him. So we need a full public inquiry, both to get justice for the victims and to protect our national security. Mr. Speaker, the Polish government think Epstein may have been spying for Vladimir Putin. Is the Prime Minister concerned that Peter Mandelson may have been leaking state secrets, not just to a paedophile American financier, but also a Russian agent?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks of a public inquiry. Obviously, the focus now has to be on the criminal investigation which has started. As he knows, that investigation will go wherever the evidence leads it. And I've made it absolutely clear that the government will cooperate, as he would expect, with that criminal investigation wherever it goes.
The victims and survivors of Epstein and his circle of overprivileged elite are at the forefront of my mind here and now. Mandelson, we now know, described Epstein's release from prison after being sentenced for child sex offences as Liberation Day. This man's association with Epstein was known when the Prime Minister personally appointed him as the UK's ambassador to the USA. Yep. How can we trust the Prime Minister's judgment? And in questioning that, how can we trust him to remain as Prime Minister?
Can I join her in the disgust in the comments that she just read out? But to be absolutely clear, the scale and the extent of the relationship between Mandelson and Epstein was not disclosed. On the contrary, it wasn't just not disclosed. Mandelson lied throughout the process and beyond the process. He lied, and he lied again to my team.